notice that Epstein looks very familiar?
He looks like every old white guy I've ever known.
Well, let me take out this $20 bill. Does that ring a bell to you? Who is that guy?
Andrew Jackson?
Yeah, it's Andrew Jackson, but it's also Jeffrey Epstein.
You mean they're like related?
No, they're the same person. This is a vampire. Even on the bill, you can see so many resemblances. There's even an X mark on their cheeks that looks the exact same.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Red Rabbit Hole with Nighthawk and Eric. Eric's patiently waiting. I'm going to get through the disclaimer, and then we'll get into the topic subject, and we'll say hello to everybody, and then we'll get into the meat of the stuff, all right? So the copyright disclaimer is Nighthawk High Strange's podcast channel and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which makes allowances for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and let's not forget the entertainment value, and general knowledge only. Per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act. All righty, folks. Let me get Eric in here, and let me take this off of the screen. And we are going to touch some very, very sensitive subjects tonight, okay? We are going to get into the whole immortal type of a thing, even a little bit of vampiric type of things, CERN and some of the stuff that they're doing, and the controllers. And I'm going to tell you a fascinating little short story that happened with my wife Tracy and me the other night when I was laying on the couch, and she had just come home, and we're going to get into that too. I'm going to describe exactly what happened. And I'm sure if she's in the chat, she'll also comment on what she saw and all that. So, anyways, Eric, how are you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, not bad. Hotter than all get out, man. I'm glad I ain't digging wells right now. It is freaking hot outside. I don't know what the heat humidity was, but on the dash of my pick-em-up truck, when I went to visit my oldest daughter, it said 98 degrees. When I got in this office earlier, started working, it was 88 degrees in here. It's been hot.
So I see Roxanne's got a little kitten name for you, Babyface Fluffy Jelly Bear.
I think it was, what was it, Jessica's show? Somebody's show. We were talking something about bears, and I said, I'm a gummy bear. I'm a yummy jelly gummy bear. You know that old song that's on YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah. Roxanne, good to see you tonight.
Hey,
keep an eye on that ED Testament out there. So,
yeah.
Uncut Savage, good to see you.
Show. That's what it
good
was.
To see you.
Show. Okay.
Boondock, good to see you, Corey. Oh, did we expose you being an alias there, Corey? Sorry, we should have just called you Boondock Mojo instead of Corey. Sorry,
he
brother.
Stole my
I didn't mean
mojo.
For that to happen. Anyways, all right. Speaking of mojo, that's a good intro for that.
Yeah.
You know, there's something to be said about personal mojo. Okay, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. Okay, it could be used in a bad way. But I was basically just waiting for Tracy to come home because she was out with our neighbor, and they went and they had a nice little dinner at one of the churches and all that, and the young lady is her daughters are kind of like our adopted grandkids, you know what I mean? So they're just teeny tiny kids. But anyways, make a long story short, Tracy came through the front door, and she looked at me, and and I'll tell you what happened. Okay, after I describe what she said, she saw. She came in and she saw me laying on the couch, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." You know, and she said, "Well, your face is black, not black black, but just dark." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, I can understand that, and I didn't go into details about it. I kind of kept it in myself, like a little, until I could, disclose it to everybody at once. Well, while she was gone, and I was on the couch for about a half an hour, after playing with Jacob and stuff on the floor, and basically I was laying there and I was kind of getting into a meditative state. Okay? I was getting real relaxed, um, and I was just clearing my mind and focusing on a prayer. And I asked Tunkashila, grandfather, the creator, Yahuwah, to let me know what I need to do, and give me the divine inspiration, and the feeling that I can accomplish anything, under your will. And as I was doing that, I did that for probably about 20 minutes or so, and I was just laying there, and I was just praying, and I was had my eyes closed, and I was just embodying, these divine beings around me, and and the Creator. And that's when she walked in, and I literally, my whole body, when she walked in, my whole body felt like I was about 5 pounds, instead of 200 pounds. I was 5 pounds. And basically, I felt like I could do anything. Like I had this divine, mystical, you know, spiritual gift that was gifted to me by the Creator to do anything. I mean, I literally felt supernatural. I don't know if that's it. I don't know how to describe it. Okay. I literally don't know how to describe it. Juno, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. I really don't know how to describe it, but the only way I can describe that feeling was I felt like I could do anything. Like like with the Creator within me, you know, kind of manifested himself in me to show me that he's always there. Okay. And even though sometimes I may not feel him there, he was there. Okay. And he manifested himself in me. And as he did that, I literally took on his form, his mortal form when he was on earth, you know, and through his, son. And literally, I remembered that in the Bible it says that his hair was like lamb's wool and his skin was dark, and black. And I remember that, and it just it kind of made sense to me, because here I was asking for him to give me some divine wisdom to take care of something, and that miracle transpired today. Literally, you see, we had been going so long without transportation and having to depend on others to drive us around, and going to doctor's appointments, and grocery shopping and all that. We've had this friend Jeff that has been by our side throughout the whole thing, and helped us out tremendously. You know, I love him like a brother. He's like an older brother to me. And today, the miracle that I actually asked for, and when the Creator manifested Himself in me and said it's going to be okay, that miracle happened today. I had Tracy's car has been down for the better part of almost I'd say at least 8 months. Okay. And I don't have my truck anymore because it got junked. Um, but you know, these mechanic friends of mine, he is a good friend of mine. Just out of the blue, decided to come over, and he literally took care of the problem with Tracy's car overheating and all that, and he got everything fixed, and you know, installed what he needed to install and fixed what he needed to fix, and now her car's running. So all I got to do is get it inspected at the local garage. But her car's running, and it's running great. I mean, really good. So I mean, I can't drive from here to Cleveland with it, but you know, to go across town, I would imagine that'd be fine. But you know, just to have that happen, just it proved that there is a divine connection between us and the Creator. You know, that we literally are the conduit. You know, and I just wanted to share that with everybody tonight, and you know, let everybody know that, you know, it's like I've always said, when you're praying for some things, you don't have to say it verbally. You really don't. The only thing I said verbally was the Creator's name over and over again. Okay, over and over again. And after the second time, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, I felt this supercharge come through my whole body, and my whole body felt like I weighed about 5 pounds. And it was really an experience. It was something that I'm going to do again. I'm going to do again and again and again and again until this world gets right, um, or at least a small part of the world, you know, our part of the world. Um, but I just, you know, I wanted to share that with everybody, and you know, it was such a divine and inspiring feeling that I had from that it's right now. I just I get choked up about how it all just transpired within, you know, the blink of an eye. So, what do you think of that, Eric?
Well, I did remember a sermon one time that was preached back when I used to go to a thing called a church. And the preacher said that if you pray in your head, God can hear it, the devil cannot. Where you say it as out loud, the devil can hear it and try to, I think it was manipulate it or something, or use it against you. That a lot of
Twist it,
times
yeah.
it's better to pray in your head than it is to pray out loud. I don't know how
Right.
much truth is in that, but I have heard that before during one of the sermons. So I mean,
I just,
there's some validity to it.
yeah, I'm just, thank you, Roxanne, for that. And thank you, Don, for that. Um,
I've been
I just, it
debating
just blew
on
my
sharing
mind.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I, I've been kind of debating on sharing this. So I used to be homeless. We lived in the back of an '85 Chevette back in the '80s, and we moved back down here to Southwest Missouri. We lived in a church in Rogersville Full Gospel Church for a long time, back when they first built it out by 60 Highway and out by I think it was a Get and Go back then. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, and this is before they built the new big church that they had out there. And then one of the family members took us in, and me and my little brother, we stayed down in the basement. I remember, you know, everything just being so bad and so miserable, and you know, and this was shortly after my half brother's dad left us, and he was the only dad I ever knew for a long time. Hello, Ida, and
All right.
So I remember one day waking up one morning and I looked down at the couch across from the bunk beds that me and my brother slept on. I always slept on the top. My brother always slept on the bottom. And there, sitting on the couch, was this man in a white robe and a blue slash with long flowing hair, staring at me and smiling. And I said, Jesus, is that you? And he looked at me and gave me one of the biggest smiles I've ever seen in my life and then disappeared. Now, this is twice I've seen Jesus. Another
Right.
time I was in children's church at the same church, and our children's pastors stopped on the way in church and took a Polaroid of a cloud. Something told them to stop and take a Polaroid of a cloud. And in that cloud was Jesus. So, I mean, that's twice I've seen him.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can manifest for people, I believe it because I personally have seen it with my very own eyes during a very, very low time in my life.
Yeah, and this was a time when I was questioning how everything was happening. You know, why it almost felt like I was being punished for something, and you know, with everything going on, and you know, I just decided to pray to God, to pray to the Creator, you know, but in His name, and not in you know, saying God and saying Lord, but saying Yahuwah, you know, and using His actually given name, you know, YW, what is it? YWYA, yeah, YH, yeah, YWYH is the Hebrew spelling of it, and you know, because the Greek translation, and yes, to English is fine for most people, but I like to be, when it says in Scripture that, you know, all you got to do is call on His name. He's not asking for us to call Him God or any other title. He's asking for us to call Him by His given name, you know, by His name, literally. And hi, Ozzy Sue. I just, you know, really, it blew me away how fast things got better after I did that. You know, and it just says something about the supernatural. And you know, there are people out there that can dispute it, that can say, "Oh, you're crazy." That's fine. I don't care anymore. If I'm crazy, then I'm crazy. But you know what? I'm crazy happy, you know, plain and simple. As long as things happen like that, I'm crazy happy. You know, life's not always going to be a bed of roses, but by God, when we ask for the Creator to help us out, He will do it. So, oh, what's that uncut? I'm trying to read Uncut's thing here. Let's see here. Jesus was in with the dog man. I saw him back in the childhood. Oh, okay, that's cool. We'll have to bring you Uncut on sometime and talk about that. But anyways, I wanted to start off with that tonight, and use that, you know, as an opening into what we're talking about. And we're going to get into all kinds of weird stuff. I'm going to play a very, very short clip for everybody again that I played in the intro, and you'll see why I question everything. Okay, you will literally see why I decided to just, you know, because if you don't question things, you're not going to get the right answers. You're not going to, you know, be able to find out for yourself what the truth is. Okay, I went around for years and years and years thinking that God was, you know, was God, you know, and here it's just a generic label that we're sticking on the Creator. And you know, when He says to call Him by name, call Him by His name, you know. So, but I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this short clip for everybody, Eric, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff. This is one of the things that that just basically, you know, makes me think. Okay, this right here. All right. And I'm going to play the, it's only a 34-second clip. Okay. So hang with me here, guys. And we're going to play it right now. All right.
Mhm.
And just, you can just listen to the two guys talking. Okay.
Did you ever notice that Epstein looks very familiar?
He looks like every old white guy I've ever known.
Well, let me take out this $20 bill. Does that ring a bell to you? Who is that guy?
Andrew Jackson?
Yeah, it's Andrew Jackson, but it's also Jeffrey Epstein.
You mean they're like related?
No, they're the same person. This is a vampire. Even on the bill, you can see so many resemblances. There's even an X mark on their cheeks that looks the exact same.
Now that is just part of the topic tonight. I had Eric upload that clip for me because I felt it was pretty conclusive. I mean, and I researched it, and there is not a billionaire out there that is going to commit suicide. Let's face it. If you had billions and billions of dollars and your own private estate and your own private island and your own private jets and all your billionaire friends and your little exclusive club, you're not going to commit suicide. I don't give a rat's ass who you are. You're not going to commit suicide, people. And then I started thinking, well, what if he couldn't die? What if he was literally what they said he was? So I started researching it even more and comparing pictures and stuff of different people. And there are several, people in the world that seem to be immortal, at least in photographs, over a period of time. And if they're not immortal, then they live a very, very biblical long time, like 600 years or so, if they're not immortal. And why we didn't see this before is beyond me. Okay. That's one of the weird things I want to touch tonight. And then there's several other weird things. There was a magazine article that came out, and it talked about, basically, it came out on, I think it was it People Magazine? I think it was People Magazine. I'm not sure. I can't remember what magazine cover it was, but this was the cover that it was. Exactly. The guy that made sure that people went to Oklahoma. You're absolutely right, Uncut. Absolutely right. And it makes even more sense, does it not? I mean, does it not make more sense to my native brothers and sisters out there? Okay. That Andrew Jackson and this billionaire of modern times, that they conveniently hung himself without cameras on in the prison, look exactly alike. Same mark on their cheek. I mean, the little X mark, same everything, side by side profiles, spitting image. So yeah, that just kind of confirms it. If you don't think it does, I mean, wow, it did me. So
Either
how many
way,
more of
it's
them?
a cool coincidence.
Yeah, and how many more of them are out there? That's what I want to know. How many more? So
I always
but
said I
this,
wanted to live to 123, and on my 123rd birthday, I want to croak. I won't describe how I want to croak because it's not YouTube friendly, but I have my plans. I have a dream.
I have a dream. Anyways,
I'm a
this is
man of
the
few ambitions, but they're mine.
yeah. This is the magazine cover. You guys have probably seen this magazine cover before. And if we don't live in a freaking I don't even know what to call this world anymore. I think it's so quantum entangled that we're so screwed up. And with the way that the powers that be are doing these psychological playbook on us all the time is ridiculous, with the Mandela effects and all this other crap. That's just them trying to see if history can be changed. That's what they're trying to do. Okay, the Mandela effect. Okay, yes, there always was a cornucopia with the fruit of the loom. Okay, don't let them bullshit you and tell you there isn't, because that's them trying to manipulate you into changing history. Because if they can change history without having to repeat it, then they're better off. Less effort. Anyways, here is the magazine cover, okay? I want to pop this up. And if you look at this cover, oh, there you go. Thank you, Eric. If you look at the if you look at the cover, you can clearly see that it's got up top Zelensky in the red, and it looks like Putin in the blue. Okay. And then up above Putin, it looks like you have the profile of Donald Trump with a question mark. And over on the other side, the profile of a female with bombs and missiles above her head. Okay. And above Donald Trump's head, you have the dove of peace. See how everything is like it's almost like it's preordained. Somebody has got this knowledge. And for somebody to have this in-depth knowledge of an election process and puts it on a magazine cover, that's a hell of a statement, because down below you've got the Chinese leader, and you've got
Xi Jinping.
Yeah, and then you've got what looks like, I say it kind of looks like Trump's old vice president, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Pence.
Yeah, Pence. Yeah, but you take a close look at all this and just see the comparisons of what's happening here in this whole scope of this design that was laid out. You've got the solar eclipse, and you got the lunar eclipse. Both of those happened this year. Okay, you've got over to the below Zelensky in the red in the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse. You've got the all-seeing eye going with red and blue lines to brains. Brains. Now, that would be, I would think, AI or the Neuralink. Okay. So somebody knows what they're talking about. This whole layout of this design, they're predicting what's going to happen. Okay. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And then I come across this, and this just did it for me. Okay.
Hey, real quick,
Whenever
before you change that.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a couple things that people need to understand about this picture right here. Number one, the dove of peace above Trump's head. Do you realize the dove wasn't the actual bird that they used back then? They used what was called a raven. Ravens are very sacred in a lot of historical cultures, but it does not fit with the modern term, so they wanted something more elegant and pristine, so they used the dove. In all actuality,
Exactly.
the bird that was sent out on Moses' ark was a raven. In Native American lore, Norse lore, so many different ones. Yeah, Noah's Ark, sorry. The raven is very sacred to a lot of ancient cultures. Number two, the brain with the eye and the computer fits along with what George Soros, Bill Gates, and Noah Havari are wanting to do. And Noah Havari, you can even find him in videos talking about how they can now change the DNA of human Homo sapien. Homo sapien will no longer be a thing anymore, and they can literally hack your DNA and cause you to vote and think a certain way. So all these pictures are tied together in a certain way. The one question I got though on one is that the old Putin or is that the new Putin? That is the question I have on that Putin one.
Exactly.
The old Putin is evil. The new Putin is good. The old Putin is gone.
It's almost like the evil Putin and the evil Chinese leader are down below, and supposedly the good leaders are up above, but they're opposed to each other. And the hourglass is showing that time is running out for them. Okay, time is literally running out for them, and time's literally running out for the next election here, and time is literally running out for America if we don't get our shit together. So that's another way to look at it. Okay, do we want constant war, or do we want space exploration and peace? You got missiles and stuff and bombs on the other side with Zelensky in the red, and you got space travel and satellites and stuff and a dove of peace on the other side, which is the blue. So, do you want a united front where all of us that live in this country and in the adjoining NATO nations to live in peace? Or do you want to follow the tyrants around the world and fight and just hate each other? I choose peace.
Yeah.
So, but that I just thought that was interesting too. And then this came to mind too, Eric. This is something that I found that made sense. It kind of made sense. You just look at every word in this thing: disinformation, media, dishonest, politics, propaganda, fake news, hoax, and on and on and on. This is how they manipulate us, and it's all part of the matrix. It's all part of their damn psychological games that they're playing on the masses.
Subliminal images.
Yeah, literally. And the biggest thing on this is that they've got the media and the fake news to manipulate us through their dishonesty. I thought that was very interesting. And then to take it even further, I found this, and it just kind of made sense. I got two more I'm just going to show, and then we're going to talk about all of it. Okay. There's this one. CERN is hiding something. They have definitely got something. Okay. They call it a demon. All right. And it's not the first one. Okay, it's not the first one. But they call it a demon. All right. And this is why the demons are so highly active in our world right now, and all the negativity that we feel. When you've got idols, okay, and that's what these people are to young people. They're idols, okay. What do we watch on TV every spring? They used to come on American Idol. You got UK Idol. You've got Philippine idols. You've got all these TV shows out there, where they make idols and deities out of these people. Billie Eilish, Eminem, just all of them, and it's ridiculous. And what does it say in the Bible? Taylor Swift and Beyonce. What does it say in the Bible? It says, "Have no idols before me or gods before me." Okay. And that is why the world is such the way it is right there, and in living color right in front of us. Okay. That's why things are happening.
It's all there. And what's funny is they blame that stuff on Freemasons, but that's not Freemasons. That's literally Luciferians that's doing this.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying that that our brothers in the lodges and stuff
Mm-hmm.
are all good, okay? Because I can't speak for every lodge in the country, okay? But what I can speak for is my own lodge, and there is um, a couple of them that are questionable when it comes to um, a certain worship, a way of worship, okay?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but I don't have ties with those people anymore. So, but
look at
those in
your PJ2 Masons. Your PJ2 Masons is which gave us a very bad name, was expelled from the fraternity for practicing Luciferian. And once that
exact.
happened, we all were blamed for it when it wasn't us.
Hmm.
That's sadly, but that's true. That's actually what happened.
Yep, exactly. But I'm kind of curious to see what everybody's talking about in the chat. I'm
I'm
kind of
loving checking
interested
them.
to see what everybody's talking about, and see what everybody thinks.
I was just telling Nightmare, not Marionette, that I loved her name, because
Yeah, that
nightmares
is
come
cool.
from Norse mythology, and they were actual mares that brought you dreams of horror and suffering and sorrow. But it's a really cool story. I mean, so the literal term of nightmares is actually that they were actually black mares that brought upon dreams and during the night. I mean, the Draugr did too, but nightmares. So I was telling her I got a kick out of her name, man. A lot of people don't know that. Side note,
Hmm.
side history note. So,
I'm guessing Lauren is good to see you in here, Lauren. But
hey, Roger.
and Roger, good to see you. But Lauren, I have to ask you. I mean, don't you think that the way that a lot of these singers or entertainers are nowadays are of not reputable intent for the youth in the world and for some young adults in the world? I mean, I have to ask that because you know they they have the CIA has used people of prominent positions in Hollywood and in the music industry for years since they were actually founded. Um, Perfect example was, and this also has to do with cryptids, which is kind of cool too. Um, there in Tibet, there was a monastery that had the skull cap and the hand supposedly of a yeti. Okay, and one of a very prominent explorers got the Tibetan monks to actually give him a finger from the hand. Now, here's the thing, they had to smuggle that out of Tibet to get past customs in those days, which was a lot more rigorous than what it is today. Who did they turn to? They turned to Hollywood. Okay. They got Jimmy Stewart and his wife to smuggle the finger out. And you know how they did it? They did it by hiding it in his wife's lingerie bag, knowing full well that customs, especially French customs and all that, wouldn't go through a woman's personal belongings back then. They would literally not even open it. Well, that bag ended up getting lost. Okay, and they arrived at their hotel in America, and a knock came on the hotel room door, and Jimmy Stewart answered it with his wife sitting nearby, and here's a guy standing in there, a French diplomat that said, Miss Stewart, we apologize. This is your bag, and And she actually said, well, did you open it? And the guy goes, no, a Frenchman never goes through a woman's personal belongings like that. We would never open it. And sure enough, they smuggled that finger of the Yeti out of there. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty
Well, I
cool.
remember, I believe it was Josh Gates was able to get a hair sample from that, but it came back as like a orangutan or something like that. It didn't come back to what it actually was. And always made me wonder, are they saying that just to hide the truth, or is that actually what it is?
Yeah, I want to, Lauren, if you can enlighten us on that, I would love to hear you talk about who's pulling the strings, just to hear what, you know.
I know who's pulling the strings, so I'd like to hear what her opinion is on it too. And there's several singers that's not under a contract with any corporation that tells you the exact same thing as what I knew.
All right. I'm just curious. I'm just, and everything we talk about on here, Lauren, is strictly just topics, okay? So we can figure out what the hell is going on in our world. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is just a bunch of people sitting around at the kitchen table talking, basically. So, and I want everybody to just, as long as everybody's, cordial in the chat and don't start getting, angry at each other, then, we'll keep on going. But I have no solid evidence, I'm just an empath and an intuitive. Call it like I see it. But do you have it, Lauren? Do you have an idea of who could be pulling the strings? I mean, there's rumors out there that it's mafia. There's rumors out there that it's drug cartels. There's rumors out there that it's CIA. There's rumors out there that it's certain political figures. I'm kind of curious of what everybody thinks. And I'm just giving everybody a chance to state their their opinions. That's all.
Yeah. And now
you see Eric?
mouth breathers.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric's got two little buddies now.
Yeah, I wound up with my oldest daughter's dog, Bucky. They're both wanting them arms. I'm like, man, it is like really freaking hot in here, and you guys are like radiators. See, now that's interesting because what I've always been told, the cabal pulls the strings, and they use music to warp people's minds and to configure their way of thinking to be more along their side. And a lot of singers who's not under contract says the very same thing.
Well, what a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, what a lot of people don't understand is the CIA are the ones that actually brought about the NSA. They're the ones that actually made the NSA, the National Security Agency, happen. So, there's a link there, yes, but I think the NSA is being told what to do by the CIA. I really do, because the CIA is the reason that the NSA started. So they can surveil their own people, basically. But, and did you,
that's why I like,
yeah, go ahead.
That's why I like the rappist, Tom McDonald. I'm not a big rap fan, but I like him because he's genuine. He calls it out. He's not under the contract, and he makes more money and hits more #1 hits than any other artist in the world. And it's just him and his girlfriend that does the music. So, I mean, I like artists like that. They're doing it themselves. They're keeping it real. Music has lost its soul back in the 80s. After the 80s, you started feeling the soul leaving music, and it's not near as good. I mean, I like some of the new music, but it's not like then.
Well,
the 80s and older, back when it had life and feeling and soul.
Yeah, I think it happened a lot sooner than that, Eric. A lot sooner than the 80s. I think it happened probably around 1970 to 72 is when music's changed. Because it's like Lauren says here, they did kill Jimi Hendrix. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, and think about it, Elvis. What about Elvis?
Hmm.
There's rumors
I
that
know where Elvis is.
Elvis, yeah, yeah, he just went home.
No, no, he's down in Arkansas and he's a preacher. His name is
Yeah, I
Bob
know.
Joyce. You all want to see a cool thing? Go on YouTube and look up Bob Joyce. You all will freak the hell out. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, that dude is Elvis.
Yeah, he even sings like Elvis. So,
He does.
yeah.
And his son
Yep.
said, I can't sing this song because this is my father's song, so let him sing it. And it was Dixieland by Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I agree with
Bob
Lauren
Joyce
when
is
it comes to
good.
that. Yeah, I agree with Lauren when it comes to that. That's true. I believe that, that there is a connection, and that's why we talk about these things. We need to connect the dots because we need to be,
Yeah.
in this point in time and the way the world's going, we all need to be prepared for the worst, but expect the
We do.
best, or
Well, and that's
wish
the
for the
thing.
best.
I've said it. I've said it several times. We're living in a pantomime right now to wake people up to the reality of what was going to happen to everybody, to hope
Yep.
that they can bring themselves to a higher level of dimensional thinking and way of life. And that this little pantomime is almost over, and you're slowly seeing the truth being leaked out. You're slowly seeing things happen, and pretty soon we'll have what's called the 10 days of darkness, and that's where everything is going to come to light.
Oh, I can't believe I went through a pot of coffee.
And
And
I'm almost out of tea again. I'm like, damn.
we're not even into this an hour yet. We're at 50 minutes right now. A pot of coffee. Woo. I'm going to be up doing some research tonight.
Yeah.
Uh, Anyways, yeah, I just thought these subjects, needed to be talked about. And the whole CERN thing kind of worries me. It's
Mhm.
like we've always said, nobody's ever really given them specific permission to do what they're doing, because what they're doing affects the entire world, not just Switzerland. You know what I mean? It affects everybody on this timeline, you know, everybody in this universe, it affects everybody. And, I just don't think that they should have the right to do what they do there if it has a potential to harm the populations, around the world. Um, we're already seeing they say that there's a population increase. Bill Gates, you lying SOB. Um,
Yeah.
you are an SOB, Bill Gates. 2017 census reading for Japan was 127 million people. 2022 census reading for all of Japan was 125 million people, down by over 2 million people within 5
You went
years.
down, but
Within 5 years, the world population was 7.9 billion. Now it's currently 7.6 billion. What happened to 300 million people, folks? The United States. The United States. Let me do the United States here real quick. 2018, the United States had 327 million people. Okay. 2022, we have 333,200 people. Okay, or million people, excuse me. So we increased 2 million people. And, that in itself is a good thing. But you know what? The majority of those increases are from outsiders coming here and moving to the United States. That's not birth. Birth rates have declined. There's less people nowadays wanting to have children because of the way the world is. Think about it.
Yep.
Who wants to raise a child?
Well, not
in a
only
world
that,
like this world?
the jab helped with a lot with that as well.
Mm-hmm. I just thought those numbers were pretty interesting.
It is, because that brings me up to a certain quote, and if I remember right, this is from Dr. Charlie Ward, and I think he's the one I heard it from, but it makes perfect sense. In what universe do you think that Yahweh would ever make a mistake? If there's overpopulation, then that is saying that Yahweh makes mistakes. Yahweh's not going to put more people on this planet than what this planet can hold. And there's more than enough land to support the population and some that we have. So, I mean, that's something people don't take into consideration.
Yeah, it is part of their plan. You're right, Lauren. You're right. It's definitely part of their plan. I just, they've had quite a long time, and their bloodlines are the ones that are in control, like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Cheneys, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas. I mean, they're all the part of that elite group that comes out of the Bohemian Grove in California. And they have presidential picks made up years in advance on who they're going to put into the office of president, because they have certain agendas they want done, and it's easier to put forth your agenda on the public if you have the person in charge of the public under your thumb. That's why they're getting away with it. The game is set to always be against the people. Okay, it's always against the people, and it's been that way for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. The prominent people, the bloodline people, like the UK royal family, they just have, for some reason, spread their bloodline and influence around the world. So I don't know. I mean, everybody says it may be the UN we should be fearful of, but I think it's the actual people that are in charge, like BlackRock. People say, look what BlackRock's done, and that's the other reason I think that Epstein's still alive, is BlackRock. He had, you can't be one of the richest men in the world with influence, to have enough influence to buy your own private island and run a basic child trafficking ring. And I'm sorry, it's like I said in the beginning, Epstein, I don't believe he's dead. Okay, I don't believe he unalived himself. I don't know a billionaire out there that would unalive himself, that didn't have contacts to get his ass out of trouble. Okay, that's just my opinion. That and $1.50 may get you a cup of coffee at McDonald's. That's just my opinion. Okay, that's it. It's not saying anything's conclusive, but that's my opinion, and that's my right. And it's sad, that we give these people so much control. We really do.
Yep, we do. And that's why I keep telling people we need to realize who's actually in control, and that's us, and we need to take our power back.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm mixing coffee right now. Hold on.
You're good. That is actually very interesting you say that, Cryptid, because backstage I was talking about it, said it's kind of interesting how you see a video with Trump going to Epstein's Island and there's a person in handcuffs walking with a bag over his head. And the body
Well,
shape was that of Epstein.
Yeah. I'm going to play that clip again, Eric, for people that didn't see it earlier. It's a 34-second clip, okay? And I'm gonna play it for everybody. That way they can see it for themselves. These young men actually they actually hit the nail on the head. I think they really did. I really do. So, but just listen to this, okay? I'm gonna play it.
Did you ever notice that Epstein looks very familiar?
He looks like every old white guy I've ever known.
Well, let me take out this $20 bill. Does that ring a bell to you? Who is that guy?
Andrew Jackson?
Yeah, it's Andrew Jackson, but it's also Jeffrey Epstein.
You mean they're like related?
No, they're the same person. This is a vampire. Even on the bill, you can see so many resemblances. There's even an X mark on their cheeks that looks the exact same.
Now, if that doesn't freak you out, the X mark, hey, X marks the spot. That's a given mark that that's the one thing that he failed to hide from everybody, so everybody couldn't see. Now, I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein is a vampire, okay, but I am saying that he could very well be someone that basically lives a very long time. And I go back to thinking about the Saint Germain. Could he be Saint Germain? Could he be an immortal? Could he be maybe not an immortal, but maybe somebody that can live like 600 years or so, like the old days of the Bible? There's too many things that add up with him not being normal. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is not dead. Whether he's a vampire, whether he's immortal, whether he is just, like Saint Germain, been cursed to live a certain amount of time, or is he cloned? I mean, we just don't know. We don't know. These are all answers that I think we need to find out, because if he's able to do this, then that means he's in history for a very long time. And like Uncut said in the beginning of the podcast, he's the one that sent our people to Oklahoma. He's the one that put our people on reservations. Andrew Jackson and Jeffrey Epstein are the same individual. You just don't get that pock mark or that X mark for nothing. Yeah, I agree with that, Night Marionette. Yes, I do. 150% on that. Yeah, the adrenochrome factor is a biggie when it comes to these things.
That's the reason why it's known the elixir of youth.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Eric, I'm going to play just a short little 35-second video of somebody that I believe is a very, very talented individual. And he makes knives and tomahawks and hatchets and stuff. And I did a little video for him to help him out. And you can go to Strickland Knives, and his name is David Strickland. And just check it out. It's Yeah, it's just a little thing I did for him, and I think it turned out pretty good. But it's just a little commercial I did for him, and he doesn't sponsor the channel at all. Anybody, and he is just. I thought his work that he does is very very good quality. So I
Mhm.
do that to help out all the friends on Facebook and all that. If they have businesses, I'll try to put little commercials together for them. So. But yeah, I mean the whole Epstein thing just kind of, how you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you know something just doesn't add up, something just doesn't mesh together too well, and you
Saint
have,
Germain nightmare.
yeah, just kind of like that. I don't know. I just
Nightmare was asking a question.
What's that?
She asked, "What was the name of the alchemist who supposedly had a philosopher's stone and couldn't die? He was French." I was saying Saint Germain.
Yeah, Saint Germain was his name. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
you're right, Uncut. I mean, it is. It's a theory. It really is a theory.
yeah, I mean, and this is
You
why
know.
we talk about this stuff. That's all,
Mhm.
and that's all we're doing. I'm not saying that you know Epstein is, you know,
Just
Andrew
one hell of a
Jackson.
quinky dink.
Yeah,
I mean, a
it's
very
very
good
very
quinky dink.
yeah, it's very very coincidental how much alike they look. I mean, even
Yeah.
down to the same style of hair. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
And
it's just incredible. You can't really ignore the fact that they do look alike, and they do have certain birth um, places on their face where you can't hide it. You know,
mhm.
um, I just I found it fascinating. I really did, and I just thought that eh, I mean, if you were a billionaire and had all your billionaire friends helping you out and stuff, would you really kill yourself?
Mhm.
Or would you try to find somebody that looked your part, that, like Hitler did,
Like a lot
maybe
of people
find,
did.
yeah, like a lot of people do, a lot of famous people do, you know,
Yep.
they ever wonder why the people that at the end of the block are missing a relative and they all of a sudden are driving a BMW and have their mortgage paid off? I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's factual. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just putting it out there that could be a possibility, you know?
Yeah.
Um, you know, could be the elixir of life, you know, but they're going to still have to fake their death somehow. And what better way to do
Yeah.
it if they have a look-alike, you know?
True. And I kind of want to make a comment on this. Roger, you're right. I mean, I know what you mean because you put me next to my great grandfather's picture and we got a spitting image. But you can also see a lot of details that's not the same. So even though we look almost identical, and that's the key word, almost identical. Like I was like, when I talked to my great grandmother, I was like, Grandma, I don't remember ever taking this picture. Where did this picture come from? She laughed. She goes, "No, that's your grandpa. And that was your grandpa. He was a handsome man when he was young, ain't he?" I said, "Well, hell, I thought that was me, Grandma." She goes, "Yeah, you look just like a grandpa, a spitting image of grandpa when he was younger." So I mean, but there is some differences, and that's what makes that picture kind of unique. Is there's too many quinky dinks, and that's why we're saying this is a very good theory, a very good possibility, because there's too many similarities. It's not almost looks like they look
Oh,
alike.
cryptid and paranormal kingdom. That is too funny. That is too funny, bro.
Yeah,
That is too funny. I have a doppelganger. His name is Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock.
I see now. I'm starting to work my way down to that one. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to
Oh,
claim
my
that though. I
God.
used to be a huge rock fan, but nowadays,
Just blew my mind.
Nicholas Flamel was from Harry Potter series and the pre Harry Potter series. But yes, Nicholas Flamel was one, but the actual real life person was Saint Germain.
Oh, God. Wait till you get to what he called me.
I've
Oh, man.
I don't want to leave nobody out, but I really wanted to comment on that because it was a very good point. That was an extremely good point.
Yeah.
Made.
Well,
Hey, Brett.
there's always been a thing with witchcraft and that when we do hexes and stuff, there's always you have to promote some of what you do to the universe. It's kind of like putting little tidbits in movies or in commercials or in music concerts and stuff to where it makes the spell more powerful. Okay, it'll affect more people. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind too. And the CIA has the best witches of them all. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. Okay. And, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. That's the thing. Okay. And when you have someone like me who was raised around it, you all know why I question everything now, because I know what they're up to. I was raised around it. I grew up with that, I know exactly what their plan is. So, and their plan is to erase the past. See, we're starting to realize that history and everything that we're taught from kindergarten on up into 12th grade and into college is a crock of shit. Okay? It is. It's a crock of shit. It's a bunch of lies. It's an indoctrination is what it is. So it's just a load of garbage. It really is. So it's an indoctrination, and they know damn well that if they say it enough, many people will start believing it. If you control the narrative, you control the conversation, which controls the way of thinking. Okay. And they have had control of the narrative. Yeah, they have had control of the narrative long after, the Civil War. They've had control of the narrative. Okay. The powers that be. So, that's why I don't believe.
Cryptid.
That's why I don't believe anything that comes out of government mouths, politicians' mouths. And I hate to group lawyers in with that, but lawyers that work for the, them people, I don't trust them either. Any lawyer in the United States is basically a person that is governed by the court. Basically, it makes them an appointed official of the court. Okay, so when they're collecting their fees from you to represent you in court, technically they're representing the judge and the court, the jurisdiction. They're not representing you. Okay, when we're born with a birth certificate. Okay, and on that back of that certificate, it's going to have numbers, and those numbers are either going to be in blue or they're going to be in red, okay, or black. If they're in red and blue, it's more along the lines of how much you are worth, okay. If it's in the black, then basically you were brought in as a slave race, basically. In other words, you're working your job, whatever shift it is, 5-6 days a week with maybe an occasional Sunday or a Saturday off, if that's even possible nowadays. Some people are working 2, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. But when you get your checks, you wonder where the hell all the money goes. Well, slaves have to pay taxes. Okay, if they don't pay taxes on the money they make and the money they spend, then the court will have to prosecute you for basically defrauding the government. Okay, now it's all connected. They have this institution called the Federal Reserve, which doesn't have a goddamn dime or even an ounce of silver and nickel or gold in it or platinum. They literally just print money and hand it out. They charge countries for how much money they have a certain interest. And if that interest isn't paid at a certain amount of time that's agreed upon, then they retain the right to increase the percentage and put it on the people, put it on the taxpayers. It's a racket. That's all it is. It's a racket. We've literally gone from having the mob rule like blocks of cities at a time to basically having our politicians being the mob and embezzling from the people. And I liken it unto the Teamsters in the 1970s. That's what I liken it to. When Jimmy Hoffa defrauded the Teamsters, over several $1 million, and in the 70s.
And who did he work for?
Yeah, the mob.
Yep. There's actually several good points in what you were just talking about that people need to really take in and consider on something. Point one, I believe it was Gandhi who said this. Who's the more foolish, the one fooling the people or the people who have been fooled? I believe that was Gandhi. I could be wrong, but I believe it was Gandhi. Number two, if you think taxing is such a good job, which to that point I agree, taxes are good to a point. But when you're even taxed for dying, which means you are unalive and can no longer physically maintain your money, how is taxes right? You are taxed for living and you are taxed for unliving. So you need to really consider this when you're thinking about this stuff and how corrupt and wrong this is. And number three, you're absolutely 100% right, because even Michael Francis, who used to be the mob boss for the Cambito family, I think it was, even said, we bought Democrat politicians because Democrats were the easiest to control. The mob got so many presidents in their office. Sadly, as much as I love the man and much as I admired the stuff he did, JFK Sr. was put in office thanks to the mob. This stuff was happening. I mean, Michael Francis, out of the horse's mouth himself, said, we bought politicians. They were Democrats because they were easier to control. So think about this when you start looking at stuff.
Yeah, that was the Gambino family too.
Gambino, that's what I thought. Gambino family, yeah. I mean, he said it himself. I mean, so most of your politicians are the modern day mafia, and even Michael Francis will tell you the very same thing. The mafia is the politicians. The politicians are the real mafia nowadays.
And then you got, there's got to be somebody pulling their strings. So wouldn't it make sense that, say, there was somebody like a Jeffrey Epstein that's been around a while and that has a lot of influence, maybe a lot of influence with BlackRock, who finances 94% or 95% of the world economy.
Mhm.
The
Oh,
world, not just America and Canada and Mexico. We're talking the world economy. Think about it. 95% almost. That's
yeah.
a lot of dinero. I'm telling you. A lot of dinero.
Lauren, Lauren, you bring up a very good comment. And this is something I've tried to tell people for a very long time, and I've been laughed at very often for saying this. But if we, as Americans, take something for instance, I hate to say this because I knew the man very well, but sadly his company is not what it was when he was alive, and that was Sam Walton,
Sam.
Walmart.
Yeah, Sam
If
Walton. Yeah.
everybody in the world spent 1 week not spending a single dollar in that store, it would collapse. And that would be that way with any business out there. Any major corporation, if you didn't, you spent 1 week, the American people spent 1 week without ever spending a single dollar in their store, heads would roll and things would change.
Yeah.
But we are too brainwashed and too conditioned to go in and spend that dollar and continue
Yeah.
spending that dollar that would never happen. And this is how they keep the control. This is how they steal their money from us. This is how it happens.
Yep. And I just, I agree with everybody in the chat too. I mean, it's the biggest psychological racketeering job
Exactly.
in history. I mean, think about it, because for every puppet, there's got to be a puppet master. Okay. Actors don't write their own scripts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For the majority of the time, 99% of the time, there's a writer that writes the script that the actor and actresses use. So somebody is pulling the strings. Somebody is writing the script for these politicians, for these actors, for these musicians, for these rich people. Um, and I think, that there are just people out there that may suit that position, like the Epsteins of the world. So, like the Flints, who own 95% of the world economy through BlackRock. Um, like the Bushes that used to run the CIA. Um, like uh, like Donald Trump's uncle, unfortunately, that was the first one on the scene when Nikola Tesla died in New York City, and they found over 100 trunks with his ideas in them, and actually only 80 of those trunks were ever turned over to where Nikola Tesla's from. Okay, there's 20 trunks missing. Okay, now you have to ask yourself, Nikola Tesla was working on all this kind of technology and stuff, lethal weapon lasers, free energy,
Time travel.
armor piercing, yeah, time travel, all kinds of stuff, anti-gravity, he was working on all this stuff. Okay.
Med beds, which is down in Florida right now. You can actually access
Yep.
med beds, which is Nikola Tesla technology in Florida as we speak.
Exactly. So, I ask you again, who are the ones pulling the strings? Who's the puppet masters? Because it just seems like there's certain names throughout history that seem to repeat itself over and over and over again. And I hold true to what my theory is and what my gut instinct is. The Jeffrey Epsteins of the world are not going to commit suicide. They've got too much riding on them being alive. Okay, and then what if they can't unalive themselves? think about it. Like Saint Germain. What if they can't unalive themselves? Or what if they're not even alive to begin with? Like those two young men said, he's a vampire. I'm not saying he's a vampire, but you know what? It's awful damn funny how he does look like Andrew Jackson. He really does. Same little X mark on the chin here and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just putting it out there, everybody. It's just something to think about,
Yeah.
And,
You can't. Yeah. I mean,
and the way my mind,
it's,
the way my mind works too, though, bro, is that I can't just turn the volume off on my mind when I'm thinking about this stuff. And like I said, when Tracy came back from spending time with the young neighbor lady with the two girls, and had dinner at the church and all that, and I was lying on the couch meditating, and I was praying. She's asked me if I was okay, and I was fine. I was better than fine. But if somebody has that feeling, that divine feeling, or that I can't even express the feeling. I haven't even had that feeling happen to me when I do the chi manipulation, the energy manipulation that I teach people, with your hands. Um, it was amazing. It was like I was supercharged for some reason, and I felt like I could do anything. I really did, and I'm not gonna say any more about it. But if these people have that kind of a thing along with adrenochrome, then odds are they are living for several hundreds and hundreds of years. So that's all I'm going to say about that, and that's all I got to say about that.
so me and my weird sense of humor, I've got to do this. And Rum, it's good to see you in here. But every time I see your name, a certain little thing pops in my head. Where's the rum? Why are we always out of rum? Where's the rum? It's good to see you in here today, buddy. Speaking of rum, now I want rum. God dang it. No, I mean you bring up a good point. I mean, and there's so much evidence throughout history. I mean,
I'm
yes,
drinking bourbon.
devil's advocate. Devil's advocate. Absolutely. It can be a look-alike through the family genes. I will never dispute that as being the possibility. But there's also that possibility is how the hell are they going to look so much alike? They have the exact same scars in the exact same places.
Right. Exactly.
That is a 1 in 100 trillion chance possibility of ever freaking happening. I mean, and the number's
Exactly.
probably higher than what I said. The fact that they have the exact same scars in the exact same places tells me something different. I mean, look at the theory. There's one. I mean, we've done the theory on vampires. We've traced vampires all the way back to Lilith. She was the first vampire. She is a succubus. But there's also that theory out there that Judas, because of his betrayal and the fact that he took his life for 30 pieces of silver and he betrayed Yahweh or Yeshua, that he became a vampire.
But there's
Just a
also
theory.
but there's also the theory out there when it comes to Judas, that Judas was asked by Jesus to do what he did, and
He was, because it was part of the
he
process.
and that that was all worked out ahead of time. So do you do what the
Yeah.
Messiah tells you to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a Messiah that raised Lazarus from the dead, and I can't help but think about what that pastor said the one time with the puppy. his daughter playing with the puppy, and the puppy got underneath his feet, and he got up from the table and unalived the puppy accidentally. And
Yep.
the little girl was walking up and down the hallway of the house saying, Jesus, raise my puppy from the dead. Jesus, raise my puppy from the dead. And she asked her pastor dad if he could, do the same. And he's like, God won't listen to me. He goes, because I just said some terrible things, and, I don't think he'd listen to me. Well, that little girl, her faith never wavered, never wavered. And she kept on saying, Jesus, raise my puppy from the dead. Jesus, raise my puppy from the dead. And you know that when they put the puppy in a shoebox and stuck it out in the trash so it wouldn't, so they had to clean it up, that they heard the puppy barking, and the little girl and the dad and the mom ran outside to the garage, and it was cold that time of the year, and the puppy was whining and whimpering and barking, and they looked down and opened the trash can lid, and there the puppy is, completely whole, healthy, and alive. So, I ask you, does humanity have that capability within them? Because what I felt the other day when I was praying and meditating to the Creator, it literally felt like I could raise the dead, and I'm not saying I could. I'm just saying I felt that way. It was an electrifying feeling throughout my whole body, from my head to the bottom of my feet. And with Tracy saying, you don't look normal. You look, your face is black. And I didn't really tell her that, I was praying to God to give me a sign to solve a problem that we have been dealing with for several months now, and that's the transportation issue. And I asked God to, Yahuwah, to basically, show me a sign, or give me a sign that I know that this is going to be taken care of, because I have faith in you, And I didn't say it verbally. I was just thinking it, and I was thinking the prayer, and I imagined it happening. And that's when that electricity came over me. And I mean, I just don't know how to describe that feeling. That feeling felt good. It felt really good, really energized, really positive, really electrifying. And then, the next day, everything's okay with transportation. At least, we have a friend that's helping us out. And then Tracy's car got fixed. I actually applied for a local, county transportation service up for free. So, there's it's just a lot of things have been done since that prayer that I did, and it's just amazing what unfolded, you know.
Yahweh says we have the power of life and death in our tongue. So,
Yeah.
and the fact that this preacher done this, I can't dispute saying this is not true, because I personally know that this can happen. Not get into too many details because I don't want to put names to it, but a certain individual we used to hang out around when I was younger had anger issues. And he got mad at this kitten and choked it really hard, to the point that this cat was wheezing and its eyes was rolling back in the head. And I prayed to Yahweh, and I prayed to Yeshua, and I prayed to the ancestors and the spirits of the four corners, the four directions. And then when I was done, this cat was breathing normally and took off and ran like nothing had ever happened. Can you do this? Absolutely, you can do this. And there's so many stories, and I personally, first-handedly, have dealt with something like that. So I know it can happen. And it leads true. Yahweh said, like I said before, we have the power of life and death in our tongue. Our words are spells. How we speak projects energy good
Well, think
or
about
bad.
this too. Think about this too. The first thing out of our mouths when we're born is the Creator's name. Think about that. Yahuwah.
Mhm.
That's your first breath,
Mhm.
and that's the last breath. And we say the Creator's name when we die. So we say the Creator's real name in the beginning of our birth, and we say the Creator's name in our death. So, and there has to
Why do
be a
you think
reason. There's a design
Why
for
do you
that.
think the Native American? Yeah. Why do you think the natives tell you when you build your lodge or you put your lodge up, always face the entrance to the east, the direction of birth? When you come from your lodge, it's like you're being born from the womb. When you go back into your lodge, it's like going back into the womb so that you can be reborn.
Right.
There's power in everything you do. There's power in everything that you say. So you always have to be careful and maintain what you do and really, really take in consideration what you say and what you do because there's power in all that stuff. There's a reason why they tell you there's magic in the mountains. There's a reason why they tell you that what you speak can come true. This is this is throughout every religion in every world or all around the world. We have forgotten this. We are
I've
no longer
actually
taught.
yeah. I want to answer uncut there. I didn't see it until now. Yes, I've heard Indian car song. Yes. I've also heard John Wayne's Teeth and several other songs.
John
And
Wayne, is that
I
you? Is
actually
this
I
me?
actually I actually watched a movie called The Pow Wow Highway, and so yeah, it's a good movie, man. It's a cult classic. Pow Wow Highway, man. If you watch it, it's a cult classic. You
Hey,
have to watch it. Okay.
I gotta
It's called
find I gotta find that movie, man, because I don't know what happened to it, and it pisses me off because it's one of my favorite movies, and it's called the Last Storyteller. Man,
Oh yeah.
that is a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah. I let's see. There's Pow Wow Highway, and then there's Skins. Skins is a good movie too. Skins. Skins. Look that movie up. That's a good one too. Also
Hmm.
what's the one? God, I can't remember the name of the one. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, anyways, Pow Wow Highway and Skins are two movies, Native American movies that I highly recommend. So
No kidding. I'll have to try to remember that.
yeah, it is Keith
Man,
Secola. Yeah, it's Keith Secola that sings that. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Like I have a lot of old school Mountain Man movies on DVD because I love that type of stuff. Grizzly Adams. I've got season 1 and 2 of that on DVD. I like that old stuff. I mean, I've got pretty much every single John Wayne movie on DVD, and most of your Clint Eastwood westerns on DVD, and some of his non-westerns on DVD. I mean, I like
Right.
that old stuff, but them old movies like The Last Storyteller. Um, I'd hate to say it, but Dances with Wolves was really good too. But there's another one that I'm forgetting. There's a lot of good ones, and they just don't make them no more because they give a positive message, and that goes against the narrative. That's why Holly
Yeah.
Scrooge has gone away from that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, everybody, it's been almost an hour and 45 minutes, and we have got a podcast to do tomorrow. It may come on a little late, like 11:30. because I got to run somewhere tomorrow to get the final thing for Tracy's car in the morning. But join us tomorrow morning. I'll get on here sometime between 11 and 11:30. Okay, Eric. So
Yep.
I'll try to let you know as soon as possible, and I'll try to make it at 11 at the regular time. But if I'm a few minutes late, then just bear with me. I'll get on there. Okay. So everybody, look for us tomorrow. We'll continue the topics and stuff, and we'll talk over coffee again. And Saturday and Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. for the Morning Brew Show. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Real quick, if you guys haven't already, I've started doing a couple new things on my YouTube channel, The Bizarre and the Unknown. Go over and check them out. I've done 3 short videos reading old newspaper clippings talking about Sasquatch and Ape Man and stuff that's happened in encounters. And all these newspaper clippings I got from the Library of Congress. Go check them out. Let me know what you guys think. If this is something that you like, I'll do more. I've got plenty more newspaper clippings to go through where I can start doing them. If you guys like it, I'll drop them every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also came out with a new book idea yesterday and done an audio version of that, which is released on my YouTube channel as well, called Beast of the Ozarks, Book 1, First Killing. This seems to be doing good so far. Go over and check it out. If that's something you guys like, I've already had somebody said they want me to read chapter 2 as well. I can't read for crap. I'm dyslexic as hell, so writing and reading is very hard for me. But if you guys like it, I will do more of that. So go to my YouTube channel, kind of check that out. I want your guys' opinion. If this is the type of stuff you like, then I'll continue putting stuff like this out.
Good. Also, this coming week, Friday night, Into the Red Rabbit Hole. We're going to delay that for a Friday night, and at 11:55 p.m., we're bringing back Midnight Monsters, and the special guest for Midnight Monsters is Ryan Paul Tremblay. So we're going to be doing one show of that this coming Friday. A week from today, and it's going to be about the chupacabra. So, and it's going to be a good one. Anybody out there that knows Ryan knows that it's always a good one when we have him on. So that's going to be.
I love him. I had him on last Sunday, man. I love Ryan.
So, yeah, Ryan's like my little brother. So you all be nice to him. So. Anyways,
we had a good show last week. If you guys missed it last Sunday, you missed it. Ryan and I had a really good show talking about the Wendigo last Sunday. You guys missed it. If you guys didn't watch it, man.
Yep.
It was good.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it later though. I couldn't do it during while it was on. But yeah. Anyways, I got medication I gotta take, and I gotta come down off all this caffeine. So I will see everybody in the morning at 11 a.m. Between 11 and 11:15. Hopefully, I'll get on here, okay? And it'll be me and Eric again, and we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. So just join us for coffee. Bunch of old friends sitting around the kitchen table, okay? Until then, everybody, have a great night, and enjoy it, okay? Don't worry about the way the world's doing and what's going on with it. Just stay positive and look at the glass half full. All right, guys. We love you all very much. Like, heart, and share this out if you can. And we'll see you all tomorrow morning.
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.